Welcome back, everybody. We are diving deep into something today. You might think you already know about it, reflexes. We've got a whole bunch of research right here, and we're going to be looking into these automatic movements, these little windows into our nervous systems. They're more than just, simple twitches and wiggles.
What's so fascinating is that we often think of reflexes as something that, babies have, but they're actually with us our whole lives. They're not just a sideshow. I mean, they're the fundamental building blocks of motor control, really. It's the foundation of how we, interact with the world.
Yeah, it's like our internal operating system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Running in the background, making sure we don't, face plant every time we take a step.
Exactly.
So to get started, can you just remind us about, those different levels of reflexes? I've got something in my notes here about a hierarchy.
Absolutely. Not all reflexes are created equal. We can categorize them into three main levels: primitive, brainstem, and midbrain. Each of these is controlled by different parts of the nervous system. So it's really a journey from the most basic ones, the ones essential for survival, those first moments of life, to the incredibly sophisticated ones that help us navigate the complexities of our world as adults.
Okay, so let's start with those primitive reflexes then. Those are the ones we typically associate with newborns, right?
Right. These early reflexes are controlled by the spinal cord. They're essential for protection and, importantly, survival in those early stages. I mean, they're our first line of defense. They really kick in even before the higher brain centers have fully developed.
Wow. So let's talk about the flexo-withdrawal reflex.
Uh-huh.
I bet a lot of parents have seen this one in action.
Oh, absolutely. Just imagine a baby encounters something sharp, like a prickly toy. The instant their foot is stimulated, that leg pulls back, protecting them from harm. And what's remarkable is this reflex is present so early, like even as early as 28 weeks gestation.
Wow.
So it just highlights how crucial it is for survival even before birth.
That's amazing. So it's like our body's security system is already online before we even enter the world.
Exactly.
But these reflexes, they get even more complex, right?
They do.
What about the crossed extension reflex?
Okay, so that one is really a testament to the intricate coordination happening in a newborn's nervous system. If a baby's leg is stimulated while it's held straight, you'll see the opposite leg will flex, swing inward, and then extend to push away whatever is causing the discomfort. So it's a multi-step process involving both sides of the body, showing us that even in infancy, our movements are remarkably coordinated.
So these reflexes really are like little sneak peeks into the incredible potential of the human brain. Okay, we have to talk about one of the most iconic baby reflexes, the Moro Reflex. What's the story behind all that dramatic arm flinging?
The Moro reflex is one that often surprises new parents. It's triggered by a sudden head drop, maybe loud noise, the baby's arms fling out and then cross over the body, almost as if they're grasping for something. And it's a dramatic response that's present from around 28 weeks gestation. It typically integrates by 5 or 6 months of age.
It's almost like a mini drama unfolding every time.
Yes.
So the big question is, why such a dramatic response? What's the evolutionary advantage there?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. We don't have definitive answers. But some researchers believe it's a remnant from our primate ancestors, a way for infants to cling to their mothers when startled. So, it's a fascinating glimpse into our evolutionary past, maybe suggesting a deep-rooted need for safety and connection.
It's a powerful image, a reminder of our primal need for security. Now, we also have the Startle Reflex listed here, which sounds pretty similar to the Moro.
Yeah?
Is there a difference?
Yes. There are some key distinctions. While both reflexes are triggered by those sudden stimuli, the Startle Reflex specifically involves a loud noise. So the baby's response is similar to the Moro, with the arms flinging out but the elbows stay bent, fists clenched. It's almost like a reflex designed to, protect the head and face from potential threats.
It's fascinating how even these seemingly simple reflexes, have such nuanced differences. Speaking of grasping, what about the Palmar and Plantar grasp reflexes? I remember my little one gripping my finger with surprising strength.
Oh, absolutely. Those strong grasping reflexes are present at birth. And like the Moro reflex, they're thought to be remnants of our primate ancestors. Picture a baby monkey clinging to its mother's fur. These reflexes may be, echoes of that behavior hardwired into our nervous systems.
It's amazing how these reflexes, link us back to our evolutionary journey. So what happens when these primitive reflexes, they don't integrate or disappear? as expected. Our notes mention something about the Galant Reflex and scoliosis.
Yes, the Galant reflex is a fascinating example of how a persistent primitive reflex can potentially impact development. When you stroke a baby's back along the spine, they'll curve their body towards the side that was touched. Typically, this integrates by about 2 months. But if it persists, it can sometimes be associated with issues like scoliosis, which is a sideways curvature of the spine.
So it's not just about, those cute baby movements.
Right.
It's about, understanding how these reflexes or their persistence can give us valuable insight into a child's development.
Exactly. They can act as early warning signs, prompting further investigation and potentially early intervention if needed.
Before we move on to the next level of reflexes, we have two more primitive reflexes, rooting and sucking. These seem pretty vital for a newborn, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean, these are essential for survival. They ensure a newborn can, find and obtain nourishment. The rooting reflex helps them find their food source. You touch their cheek, and they'll turn their head towards that touch, ready to latch onto a breast or bottle. And then the sucking swallowing reflex makes sure they can actually consume the nourishment they need. Together, they demonstrate a remarkable coordination between, different systems in the body, all working together to make sure a baby can thrive.
It's like a perfectly choreographed dance of survival, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Well, that was a fascinating journey through the world of primitive reflexes, but hold on to your hats, everybody, because we're about to level up. Get ready to explore the brainstem reflexes. Okay, so we've seen how those early primitive reflexes really lay the groundwork, for survival in those first few months of life.
Yeah.
But as we grow, our nervous system matures.
It does.
Our reflexes, they get a serious upgrade.
Right.
Enter the brainstem reflexes.
Yeah. These reflexes are controlled by, you guessed it, the brainstem,
Right.
which is a much more sophisticated part of the nervous system than the spinal cord.
Right.
And unlike those primitive reflexes, these guys are all about movement. They're the driving force, really behind developing muscle tone, posture, and that all-important coordination.
So they're like the personal trainers of our nervous system,
Exactly.
getting us ready for all the exciting things we'll be doing, as we grow.
Yeah, think of it as boot camp for babies.
Okay, I like it.
And these reflexes, well, they're not shy about making their presence known.
I bet.
They really tend to involve the whole body, which can be pretty dramatic to watch.
Speaking of dramatic, our notes mention the ATNR, the asymmetrical tonic neck reflex.
Oh, okay.
Can you paint us a picture of what that looks like?
Okay, so imagine a baby lying on their back, and they turn their head to one side.
Oh.
Suddenly, their arm and leg on that side extend, while the opposite arm and leg flex. It's like a tiny fencer in a duel, ready to strike. This fencer's pose is a classic sign of the ATNR, and it typically integrates between 4 and 6 months.
It's such a vivid image. But what happens if this little fencer doesn't put down their sword, so to speak?
Right.
What if the ATNR sticks around longer than expected?
Well, that's when it can start to interfere with some key developmental milestones.
Right.
Imagine trying to reach for a toy or bring your hands together. If every time you turn your head, one arm wants to extend,
Yeah, I can see that.
it can also hinder rolling and those early attempts at crawling.
So it's amazing how something that looks so simple can have such a big impact on development.
It is.
So if the ATNRs are tiny fencer, what image comes to mind with the STNR, the symmetrical tonic neck reflex?
Oh, if the ATNR is our fencer, the STNR is our stealthy feline.
Okay, I like it.
Imagine a cat preparing to pounce, head down, front legs bent, back legs extended.
I can see it.
That's the STNR in action. When a baby flexes their head forward, their arms will bend and their legs will straighten.
Okay.
When they extend their head back, the opposite happens. Arms straighten, legs bend.
Wow.
It's all about symmetry.
I love that analogy. But as cute as a pouncing baby might be,
Yeah.
I imagine this reflex, if it persists, can cause its own set of challenges.
You're exactly right. This reflex typically emerges around 4 to 6 months.
Okay. Yeah.
And integrates between 8 and 12 months.
Got it.
But if it sticks around, it can make crawling a real challenge. Think about, trying to coordinate those alternating arm and leg movements
Yeah.
when your body wants to flex and extend in sync with your head.
Yeah, that's like trying to pat your head and rub your belly at the same time.
Exactly.
It's incredible how these reflexes are laying the groundwork for such complex movements.
It is.
We also have the TLR on our list, the Tonic Labyrinthine Reflex.
Yeah.
What's happening with that one?
The TLR is all about the body's response to head position, and it's a whole body experience.
Okay.
Imagine a baby lying on their back. Their whole body will extend, mirroring that extended head position.
Okay.
Flip them over onto their tummy, and their whole body will curl up in flexion. It's like their body is echoing the position of their head.
So it's all about creating that connection between head position and the rest of the body.
Exactly.
I imagine this plays a big role in developing head control.
Absolutely. The
Yep.
TLR is a crucial player in those early months, helping babies learn to control their head and transition between different positions.
And what happens when the TLR doesn't integrate as expected? Does this echo effect create challenges?
It certainly can.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to roll over or push up onto your elbows when your body wants to stay in full extension or flexion.
Right.
It can make those transitional movements that we take for granted incredibly difficult.
It's fascinating how these reflexes, while often hidden from view,
Right.
are orchestrating so much of our early development.
Yeah.
We have a couple more brainstem reflexes to cover, the positive supporting reflex and the walking stepping reflex.
Okay.
Can you give us the quick rundown on those?
The positive supporting reflex is all about preparing those legs for weight bearing.
Okay.
Imagine pressing gently on a baby's feet,
Okay.
and their legs will straighten, allowing them to momentarily support their own weight.
Wow.
It's a fleeting glimpse of those future walking skills.
It's like a sneak peek at all the exciting things to come.
Exactly.
And what about the walking stepping reflex?
Yeah.
I've heard this one's pretty adorable to watch.
It really is. Hold a baby upright with their feet just grazing a surface, and they'll start making those stepping motions like they're trying to walk. It's an instinctual movement pattern, present at birth, that fades within a few months, only to reemerge later when they're truly ready to take their first steps.
It's almost like they're practicing for the big debut.
Yes.
So these brainstem reflexes, they're quite the busy bunch.
Yeah.
Getting those little bodies ready for all the amazing things they'll soon be doing.
Right.
But before we move on to the most complex level of reflexes, the midbrain reflexes, there's one more we need to touch on: associated reactions. What are those all about?
Associated reactions are a fascinating demonstration of how interconnected our movements are, even in infancy. Have you ever noticed how a baby might clench one hand tightly when they're concentrating on grasping a toy with the other hand?
Now that you mention it, yeah, I think I have.
That's an example of an associated reaction.
Oh, cool.
It's an involuntary movement in one limb,
Yeah.
triggered by intentional movement in another.
Wow.
So it really highlights the remarkable coordination happening beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Even when babies are still learning to control their bodies.
It's like their bodies are working as a whole,
Yes.
even when they're only consciously controlling one part.
Exactly.
Well, that's quite a collection of brainstem reflexes.
It is.
It seems these reflexes, they're all about setting the stage, preparing those little bodies for the incredible journey ahead.
Yes.
But the journey doesn't end there, does it?
It does not.
We've still got one more level of reflexes to explore. The midbrain reflexes.
Okay.
Are you ready to meet the reflexes that stick with us for life?
I am.
All right, so we've made it. We've journeyed through the reflexes that, help us survive those early days and the ones that, get our bodies moving and grooving.
Yeah.
But now it's time to meet the elite force of the reflex world. The ones that stay with us for the long haul, the midbrain reflexes. What makes these reflexes so special?
Well, these reflexes, they're the epitome of sophistication.
Okay.
Controlled by the midbrain, the highest level of the brainstem.
Right.
They're all about ensuring, smooth, coordinated movement, maintaining our balance and keeping us, oriented in the world. They're the unsung heroes, really, working tirelessly behind the scenes, allowing us to navigate our environment with grace and, importantly, stay upright.
So these are the reflexes that keep us from, turning into a human bowling pin every time we take a step.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about these remarkable reflexes.
All right, so let's start with the writing reflexes, those champions of coordination and alignment.
Okay.
We have two key players here. NOB, which stands for neck writing on the body,
Okay.
and BOB, body riding on the body.
Okay, those names sound a little technical.
Yeah.
Can you break it down for us, non-scientist types?
Sure. Imagine you're lying on your back and you turn your head to the side. NOB kicks in, prompting your entire body to follow that head movement, rolling you smoothly onto your side.
So like a graceful, coordinated log roll.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So NOB is our body's way of saying, hey, if the head's going this way, the rest of you better follow suit.
Yes.
And what about BOB?
Okay.
What's its role in this symphony of movement?
So BOB is all about keeping us aligned.
Okay.
Let's say you're sitting and you twist your upper body.
Okay.
BOB steps in, prompting your lower body to follow that movement.
Wow.
Preventing you from ending up in a twisted pretzel. It ensures that our movements are harmonious and, well, let's just say it keeps us looking elegant.
So these reflexes are all about smooth transitions, keeping us coordinated, and preventing those awkward moments of bodily chaos.
Precisely. They're constantly working to ensure harmony in our movements, whether we're aware of it or not.
It's like having an internal choreographer,
Yes.
making sure we move with grace and fluidity.
Exactly.
What other wonders do these midbrain reflexes have in store for us?
Now prepare to be amazed by the Labyrinthine and Optical head writing reflexes.
Good.
These reflexes are all about spatial awareness, ensuring that we know where we are in space, even when our senses are challenged.
Wait, so even if we can't see, our body still knows which way is up?
Exactly. The Labyrinthine reflex relies on input from our inner ear, that incredible sensory organ that detects gravity and movement, and the Optical reflex that uses visual cues to keep our head oriented.
Yeah.
Working together, they ensure that we maintain balance and spatial awareness, even in challenging situations.
Okay.
Think about, walking in the dark. Suddenly lose your sense of up and down.
Yeah.
Like that's these reflexes in action.
It's like having a built-in compass and gyroscope
Yes.
all rolled into one.
Yes.
These reflexes are truly mind-blowing.
They are.
Now, there's one reflex I'm particularly curious about, the Landau Reflex. I've heard it described as a mini Superman pose.
Yeah.
Isn't that accurate?
That's a perfect description. Picture a baby held horizontally in the air, face down. Suddenly, their head, back, and hips extend, creating this beautiful arc.
Oh.
Just like Superman soaring through the sky.
It's such a beautiful image, and it makes you realize just how much potential is packed into those little bodies. But this reflex isn't just about looking adorable, is it?
Not at all. The Landau reflex is a crucial stepping stone in the development of more complex movements like crawling and walking.
Okay.
It's helping those little ones build the strength and coordination they'll need to explore their world.
So it's like their bodies are already preparing for all the adventures to come.
Yeah.
Now, we can't forget about the protective extension reflex. I have a feeling I know what that one's about.
Yeah, you got it. This is our body's, built-in safety mechanism, always ready to protect us from harm. Imagine tripping over something. Instinctively, your arms shoot out to break your fall. That's the protective extension reflex in action.
It's like having a personal bodyguard, always on duty,
Exactly.
ready to spring into action at a moment's notice.
Yes.
And this reflex is with us for life, right?
Absolutely. And it's especially crucial as we age.
Right.
Even if our balance isn't as steady as it once was, this reflex is there to help prevent those nasty falls.
That's reassuring to know. Okay, we've arrived at the grand finale of our reflex journey, the equilibrium reactions.
Okay.
What can you tell us about these masters of balance?
The equilibrium reactions are the most complex of all the midbrain reflexes. They involve a whole body response to shifts in our center of gravity. Think of, a tightrope walker carefully adjusting their body to stay upright. That's their equilibrium reactions, hard at work, making subtle adjustments to maintain balance and stability.
So they're like the ultimate balance masters, constantly monitoring our every move, making sure we stay upright.
Precisely. These reflexes are constantly working, even when we're not, consciously thinking about them, allowing us to move through the world with confidence and grace.
Well, what an incredible journey through the world of reflexes.
That is.
From those first survival mechanisms to those lifelong companions that keep us, balanced and coordinated.
Right.
It's clear that reflexes are so much more than, simple automatic movements.
Yeah.
They're a testament to the incredible complexity and adaptability of the human body.
Yeah.
Who knew these tiny twitches and responses were playing such a big role in our lives.
It really is a testament to the intricate workings of our nervous system. Even those reflexes, we often take for granted. They're essential for our ability to move, interact with the world, and ultimately thrive.
And here's a final thought for our listeners to ponder. If these reflexes are so deeply ingrained in us, could they possibly, influence our personality or learning style? Something to think about as you observe these amazing reflexes in action in your own lives and in the people around you. Until next time, keep exploring.